The underestimated species, the great space station Harmony 7, floated like a metal flower in the darkness between stars. Its 7 massive arms stretched out in perfect symmetry, each one housing different alien species during the annual Galactic Trade Summit. For 300 years, this gathering had kept peace between the 47 known civilizations that called the galaxy home. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood at the observation deck of the human quarter, watching alien ships dock with the station. Each vessel told a story of its builders. The Nexari ships gleamed like liquid silver, their hulls shifting and flowing as if alive. The Koran warships looked like flying fortresses, bristling with weapon ports and armored plating. The Etherian vessels seemed to be made of pure light, barely visible except for the gentle glow they cast. Alina adjusted her simple blue uniform and checked her reflection in the viewport. She looked plain compared to the exotic aliens she would meet today. No fancy modifications, no glowing skin, no additional limbs or psychic powers. Just a human woman with brown hair, dark eyes, and calloused hands from years of military service. The human delegation was small, only 12 people to represent all of Earth and its colonies. Most other species brought hundreds of representatives, advisors, and guards. But humans were still new to galactic politics. They had only been part of the galactic community for 15 years, barely a blink of an eye compared to civilizations that had been traveling the stars for millennia. Made her way to the central conference chamber, a massive dome where all species would gather. As she walked through the corridors, she passed groups of aliens speaking in languages that sounded like music, grinding stone, or electronic static. Universal translators converted their words, but she could hear the tone underneath. Many sounded dismissive when they noticed her. The conference chamber was breathtaking. The dome overhead showed a perfect view of the surrounding star field, making it feel like they were floating in space itself. 47 different seating areas were arranged in concentric circles, each designed for the unique needs of different species. Some aliens needed high gravity, others required low gravity fields. Some breathed oxygen, others needed methane or sulfur compounds. Alina took her place in the human section, a modest area with simple chairs and Earth-normal atmosphere. Around her, the other species settled into their places with much more ceremony. The Nexari flowed into their seats like living mercury. The Koran stamped their feet and roared approval at their commanders. The Etherian simply appeared in their section without seeming to move at all. Elder Zan of the Etherian Collective called the session to order. The ancient being had witnessed the rise and fall of several galactic civilizations. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of eons. "Welcome, children of the stars," Zan said, his words echoing in multiple languages simultaneously. "We gather once again to ensure peace and prosperity throughout our shared galaxy. Let us begin with territorial disputes." Ambassador Vexiola of the Nexari Empire rose from his seat. His form shifted and flowed as he spoke, patterns of light playing across his surface. The mining rights in the Vega sector belonged to those advanced enough to use them properly. Some species lacked the technology to extract resources without damaging entire star systems. His words were diplomatic, but Alina understood the meaning. The Nexari considered themselves superior to younger civilizations like humanity. They wanted exclusive rights to mine rare metals in human-claimed space. High Commander Vrak of the Koran Dominion stood up with a sound like grinding metal. His species had evolved from predators, and it showed in every movement. Sharp teeth, powerful limbs, and eyes that seemed to calculate the best way to kill everything they looked at. The Koran Dominion requires those systems for strategic purposes, Vrak declared. Weak species that cannot defend their territory do not deserve to keep it. We offer the humans a choice. Surrender the Vega sector peacefully, or we will take it by force. A murmur ran through the chamber. Direct threats were rare at these gatherings. Most conflicts were resolved through careful diplomacy and trade agreements. But the Koran had been growing more aggressive lately, expanding their territory by conquering weaker civilizations. Alina stood up slowly. Every eye in the chamber turned to her. She could feel the weight of their attention, the mixture of curiosity and dismissal. To most of them, she represented a species barely above animals, playing at galactic politics. The human colonies in the Vega sector are not for sale or surrender, she said clearly. Those worlds have been home to 3 million human beings for over a decade. We will not abandon our people. Dexiola's form rippled with what might have been laughter. Captain Rodriguez, with respect, your species has been in space for less than a century. You use chemical rockets and metal ships. How do you expect to resist forces that have mastered energy manipulation and quantum physics? Your weapons are primitive, Vrak added with a predatory grin. Chemical explosives and kinetic projectiles. We have shields that can stop your bullets and turn your missiles into harmless light shows. What will you do when our ships arrive at your colonies? Alina looked around the chamber. She saw the same expression on dozens of alien faces. They pitied her. They thought humans were brave but foolish, like children playing with toys they didn't understand. You're right, Alina said calmly. Human technology is simple compared to yours. We don't have energy shields or quantum weapons or psychic powers, but simplicity has advantages you might not have considered. Elder Zan leaned forward with interest. Please, explain. Complex systems fail in complex ways, Alina replied. The more advanced your technology, the more things can go wrong. Humans learned long ago that the best weapon is the one that works when you need it to work. Ambassador Carrix of the Insectoid Hive Collective clicked his mandibles dismissively. Primitive philosophy from a primitive species. Our bioships grow stronger during battle, adapting to any threat. Your metal boxes would be consumed within minutes. Our plasma weapons can melt through any armor, added Commander Ziff of the energy-based Vault Union. Your kinetic weapons cannot even touch our ships. Alina nodded politely as each species boasted about their military capabilities. The Nexari could bend space and time around their vessels. The Koran had armor that got stronger under pressure. The Etherian could phase out of normal reality to avoid attacks entirely. Every civilization had some impossible advantage that made them nearly invulnerable. Impressive, Alina said when they finished. Truly impressive technologies. But I notice something interesting about all your descriptions. What? Vrak demanded. You're all talking about defense. Shields, armor, evasion, adaptation. All designed to survive enemy attacks. That's a very different philosophy from what humans developed. The chamber grew quiet. Alina could feel their attention sharpening. She had said something they didn't expect. Human military doctrine is built around a simple principle, Alina continued. The best defense is making sure your enemy can't attack you anymore. We don't focus on surviving hits. We focus on making sure there's nothing left to hit. Thexiola form shifted colors, patterns of silver and gold rippling across his surface. Are you suggesting that human weapons are somehow superior to ours? I'm suggesting that we've been optimizing for different things, Alina replied. You've spent thousands of years making yourselves harder to kill. We've spent our entire history getting better at killing. The silence that followed was thick with tension. Several alien representatives exchanged glances. A few made sounds that might have been nervous laughter. High Commander Vrak leaned forward, his predatory eyes focused entirely on Alina. Bold words from such a small delegation. But words are meaningless without power to back them up. True. Alina agreed, which is why I propose a demonstration. Elder Zan raised one ethereal hand. Captain Rodriguez, surely you're not suggesting armed conflict at a peace summit? Not conflict, Alina said. A demonstration of military capabilities. Each species shows their best weapons and defensive systems. Non-lethal targets only. Think of it as an educational exchange. The chamber erupted in excited conversation. Aliens spoke in rapid bursts of their native languages, while universal translators struggled to keep up. Some sounded eager, others worried, many dismissive. Ambassador Vexiola rose again. His form, now a deep blue color that Alina had learned, indicated confidence. The Nexari Empire accepts this challenge. It will be educational indeed to show younger species what true advanced warfare looks like. The Koran Dominion agrees, Vrak growled. Perhaps seeing real power will teach certain humans the wisdom of surrender. One by one, other species added their agreement. The Hive Collective wanted to show off their bioships. The Volt Union was eager to demonstrate plasma weapons. Even the peaceful Etherian Collective agreed to participate, saying it would help other species understand their defensive capabilities. Alina listened to each agreement with a small smile. They were so eager to show off, to prove their superiority over the primitive humans. They had no idea what they were walking into. Elder Zan called for order with a gesture that made the air itself seem to shimmer. Very well, if all parties agree, we will hold a military demonstration in 3 days. The asteroid field near this station will provide suitable targets. Each species may send their finest vessels to participate. Excellent, Alina said. The human fleet will arrive tomorrow morning. Your entire fleet. Carax clicked with what sounded like amusement. All 12 ships. All 12 ships, Alina confirmed. The laughter that followed was polite but unmistakable. 12 ships against the combined demonstration fleets of 46. Other species, it would be embarrassing for humanity. But perhaps that embarrassment would teach them humility. Alina returned to the human quarter with a calm expression, but inside she was already making plans. She activated her secure communicator and sent a message to Earth's Fleet Command. Admiral Chen, this is Rodriguez. Execute Operation Sledgehammer. Send the 3rd Battle Group to Harmony 7. Full combat loadout. Maximum acceleration. Time to show the galaxy what humans do best. As she looked out at the stars, Alina thought about the coming demonstration. The aliens expected to see primitive weapons and crude tactics. They expected humans to be overwhelmed by superior technology and ancient wisdom. They were about to learn that sometimes the old ways were the best ways. And the oldest way of all was hitting your enemy harder than they could hit you back. The demonstration was in 3 days. Alina planned to make it a day the galaxy would never forget. Asterisk, when the sleeping giant awakens 3 days later. The space around Harmony 7 looked like a museum of galactic warfare. Ships from 47 different civilizations floated in perfect formation. each one representing thousands of years of military evolution. The demonstration area was a carefully chosen asteroid field, with rocks ranging from pebble size to small moon size, providing targets for every type of weapon system. Captain Alina Rodriguez stood on the observation deck of the newly arrived human flagship, the UES Retribution. Around her, the rest of the human fleet maintained tight formation. 12 ships total, each one a simple geometric shape covered in weapon mounts. No flowing curves, no impossible materials, just steel and ceramic and the promise of overwhelming violence. Admiral Marcus Chen stood beside her, watching the alien fleets through the viewport. He was older than Alina, with grey hair and scars from the corporate wars that had unified Earth decades ago. He had been fighting battles since before humanity knew aliens existed. "Impressive sight," Chen said quietly. "Never seen so many different ways to kill people in one place." "They're not here to kill," Alina replied. "They're here to show off." Same thing, in the end. Chen activated the fleet communications. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen. Remember your orders. Demonstrate human military doctrine clearly and effectively. Make sure they understand the message." The demonstration began with the Nexari Empire. Their flagship, the Eternal Harmony, moved forward like liquid starlight. The ship seemed to flow rather than fly, its surface shifting between different states of matter. Ambassador Vexiola's voice came over the communication channels, translated into dozens of languages simultaneously. "Observe the power of evolved consciousness over crude matter," he announced. "We have transcended the need for primitive weapons." The Nexari ship faced a massive asteroid, easily the size of a city block. Instead of firing any visible weapon, the ship simply existed near the target. Reality around the asteroid began to bend and twist. Space itself folded like origami until the massive rock was compressed into a sphere no larger than a marble. Then even that vanished, crushed out of existence by forces that violated several laws of physics. The alien observers made sounds of appreciation. Even Alina had to admit it was impressive. The Nexari had turned a city-sized asteroid into nothing using only their minds and advanced understanding of quantum mechanics. "Elegant," Admiral Chen said dryly. "Bet it takes a lot of concentration." Next came the Koran Dominion. "High Commander." Vrak's flagship, the Iron Fang, looked like a flying fortress built from black metal and bad intentions. It bristled with weapons, ports, and armor plating thick enough to stop a nuclear blast. The ship moved toward its target with predatory confidence. "Behold the strength that conquers worlds," Vrak announced. "Raw power needs no explanation." The Iron Fang opened fire with everything it had. Energy beams that could melt through planetary crust, kinetic weapons that fired projectiles at significant fractions of light speed, explosive warheads that could crack moons. The barrage lasted for 30 seconds, turning a small asteroid into expanding clouds of superheated plasma. But the real demonstration came when the plasma cleared. The Iron Fang was completely undamaged, its armor actually looking brighter and stronger than before. Koran technology absorbed enemy attacks and used that energy to reinforce their own defenses. "Your weapons only make us stronger," Vrak declared with pride. "We grow more powerful with every battle." The demonstrations continued. The Hive Collective showed bioships that could repair any damage and adapt to any threat in real time. The Volt Union displayed plasma weapons that could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The Etherian Collective demonstrated defensive systems that made their ships impossible to target or even perceive. Each species took their turn, showing off technologies that seemed to break the fundamental laws of reality. Mental control over matter and energy, living ships that evolved during combat, weapons that existed outside of normal space-time, defenses that made attacks simply not happen. Alina watched it all with professional interest. Every system had strengths, but more importantly, every system had weaknesses. The Nexari needed time and concentration for their reality manipulation. The Koran armor could be overwhelmed if you hit it faster than it could adapt. The bioships required specific nutrients to maintain their rapid healing. The plasma weapons needed exotic matter that was difficult to manufacture. The Etherian phase systems consumed enormous amounts of energy. Complex systems with complex failure points. Finally, it was humanity's turn. The 12 human ships moved into formation, with mechanical precision. No flowing movements or impossible grace, just simple trajectory changes that followed Newton's laws exactly. Each ship was a basic geometric shape, rectangular holes covered in weapon mounts, sensor arrays, and communication dishes. The alien observers fell silent as they studied the human fleet. After seeing ships that flowed like water and phased between dimensions, the human vessels looked almost primitive, just metal boxes floating in space with guns sticking out of them. Ambassador Vexiola's voice carried a note of confusion. "Captain Rodriguez, are these truly your finest warships? They appear to be cargo vessels with weapons attached." "They're warships," Alina replied simply, "built for one purpose." "And what purpose is that?" asked Commander Ziff of the Vault Union. Elena's voice was flat and emotionless. "Killing the enemy." Admiral Chen took over the communications. "All ships, prepare for demonstration. Target designation: asteroid cluster, Sevon Alpha. Distance: 15 kilometers. Begin attack pattern: total annihilation." The human fleet opened fire. There was no elegant build-up, no dramatic pause, no explanation of advanced principles. The 12 ships simply began shooting at their targets with every weapon they possessed. Rail guns fired solid metal slugs at incredible velocity. Missile batteries launched waves of nuclear warheads. Laser arrays created beams hot enough to vaporize steel. Chemical cannons sprayed streams of depleted uranium rounds. Particle beams accelerated exotic matter to near light speed. The space around the target asteroids became a storm of destruction. Not the focused precision of other species, but a wall of overlapping death that covered several cubic kilometers. The asteroids didn't just get destroyed, they got erased from existence, torn apart by forces that cared nothing for defensive systems or advanced materials. But the humans didn't stop after the targets were gone. They kept firing for 2 full minutes, pouring enough firepower into empty space to level a continent. When they finally ceased fire, there was nothing left. Not debris, not dust, not even atoms, just empty space where matter used to exist. The communication channels were completely silent. Alina counted to 30 before speaking. Demonstration complete. All targets eliminated. Finally, Ambassador Vexiola found his voice. That was ... excessive. The targets were destroyed in the first seconds. Why continue firing? Standard human military doctrine, Admiral Chen replied. When something needs to die, we make sure it stays dead. We don't give enemies time to adapt, regenerate, or phase back into reality. But the energy expenditure, clicked Carax of the Hive Collective. You used enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Surely precision is more efficient than raw force. Precision is hitting your target. Alina said, efficiency is making sure you don't have to shoot it twice. High Commander Vrak was the first to truly understand what he had witnessed. Your ships have no defensive systems, no shields, no armor, no evasion capabilities. How do you survive enemy attacks? Simple, Admiral Chen said. We kill the enemy before they can attack us. The implications sank in slowly. Every other species had developed increasingly sophisticated defenses over thousands of years of warfare. They had created systems that could survive almost any attack, adapt to any threat, evolve beyond any weapon. But they had focused so much on survival that they had forgotten the most basic principle of combat. Humans had never forgotten that principle. They had spent their entire history getting better at killing things that needed to die, while other species developed elegant solutions to complex problems. Humans had refined the simple solution to all problems. Apply enough force, fast enough, in the right place, and nothing could stand against you. Elder Zan spoke into the silence, his ancient voice carrying new respect. Captain Rodriguez, Admiral Chen, your demonstration has been ... educational. The human approach to warfare is unlike anything we have encountered. It's not an approach, Elena corrected. It's the only approach that matters. Everything else is just showing off. Ambassador Vexiola's storm had shifted to deep purple. A color Alina had learned indicated deep thought among his species. Your weapons are indeed primitive by our standards, but your doctrine, your willingness to use overwhelming force without hesitation, that is something we had not calculated. Most species spend centuries perfecting the art of war, added Commanders. If you seem to have perfected the science of killing. Admiral Chen nodded grimly. War isn't art. War isn't science. War is applying violence until your enemy stops fighting. Everything else is just philosophy. The alien fleets began to withdraw, their captains no doubt reporting back to their home governments about what they had witnessed. The humans had shown them something they hadn't expected. Not advanced technology or impossible powers, but the simple, terrifying effectiveness of applied violence. High Commander Vrak was the last to leave. His communication came directly to Alina ship. Encryption, Captain Rodriguez. The Corin Dominion withdraws its claim to the Vega sector. Your people may keep their colonies. Wise decision, Alina replied. Perhaps. But I must ask, why did your people never develop advanced defenses? Surely you could have created shields or armor systems. Alina considered the question carefully. We tried early in our history, but we learned something important. The best defense is making sure there's nothing left alive to attack you. Shields can be overwhelmed, armor can be penetrated, evasion can be predicted, but dead enemies don't fight back. A harsh philosophy, an effective one. After the last alien ship departed, Admiral Chen joined Elena on the observation deck. They watched the stars in comfortable silence, both thinking about what had just happened. Think they got the message? Chen asked. They got it, Elena said. The question is what they'll do with it. Some will respect us, some will fear us. Some will try to find ways around our advantages. Alina nodded. And some will try to become allies rather than enemies. That's the goal. Better to have them working with us than against us. As the human fleet prepared to return to Earth space, Alina thought about the future. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy in no uncertain terms. They had shown that technological advancement wasn't the only path to military superiority. Sometimes the oldest solutions were the best solutions, and nothing was older than the solution humanity had perfected over millions of years of evolution and thousands of years of warfare. When faced with a threat, hit it harder than it can hit. You back. Keep hitting it until it stops moving. Then hit it a few more times to be sure. The galaxy would remember this demonstration. They would remember that the simple metal boxes from Earth carried more firepower than their elegant, advanced warships. They would remember that humans didn't fight to survive battles. Humans fought to end them. As the UES Retribution jumped to hyperspace, heading home to Earth, Alina smiled. The message had been delivered clearly and effectively. Humanity was no longer the galaxy's newest member, tolerated but not respected. Now they were the galaxy's newest superpower, and everyone knew it.